Welcome to We the People, a new birth of freedom. Thank you once again for stopping by. I want to make a few comments about the coronavirus. I realize everyone has an opinion. Everyone has their own perception of what's taking place. But hopefully I'm able to paint some more details on the canvas here. I realize that the greatest thing or the most tragic thing that's taking place right now is the panic, the pandemonium that's been created. Right now, that's far worse than the virus itself. The fear, the panic, the paranoia, the horror of what could befall each individual. I realize those are all actualities that could take place. And let me preface all of this by saying that any virus, disease, sickness is serious. I put every disease, every sickness under the same umbrella. It's all serious. No one wants to see a little child become sick, the elderly become sick, and certainly no individual wants to see themselves sick. But it's all very serious and not to be taken lightly or have an attitude of complacency. Nevertheless, not to downplay anything, but as Dr. Drew said, the panic that's been created by the media has caused far more chaos than the virus itself at this point. And I realize it's all under the auspices of taking precautions, emergency precautions. Well, once again, as I said, let's pick up the brush. Let's paint some more details on the canvas. The Center for Disease Control, in regards to influenza A and B, at least 12,000 have died already from influenza A and B between October 1st, 2019 through February 1st, 2020, and the number of deaths may be as high as 30,000. That's just from October of last year to February of this year. Could be as high as 30,000. How come nobody said anything about that? Because on the average, and I'm quoting here, they say that approximately 50,000 or 56,000 people a year die annually in the United States from the common forms of influenza, A and B. Plus, you throw in people that die from pneumonia, respiratory problems, the amount keeps going up. The numbers keep going up. But nobody talks about that. So, my point is, before I go on, that all of a sudden, because this is a new strain, if it actually is, there's no proof of that yet. That could all be propaganda, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But you know, if I might interject to say this, remember the Twin Towers? Who would have ever thought that this high-powered, high-level technological nation such as America could be brought to its knees by the destruction of the Twin Towers? They slipped right under the radar. Something so simple, and yet so well planned. So how do we know that some type of virus cannot be introduced on American soil to completely cripple our economic system? Because one thing for sure, nations might fear us militarily. So all they have to do is slip under the radar and plant a virus with no vaccine. And while we may be really strong militarily, it will totally cripple us economically. It looks like that's what's happening. But nevertheless, let's continue to paint the canvas with more details. The Centers for Disease Control, I'll just refer to that as CDC, an article on September 26, 2018, said that in 2017, 80,000 people died of the flu last winter. in the U.S., the highest death toll in 40 years. The winter of 2017, 2018. Or, I'm sorry, 2016, 2017, I'm sorry. 80,000 people died of the flu last winter in the U.S., the highest death toll in 40 years. Was that the coronavirus? We don't know. Just because they didn't tell us, doesn't mean it's not true. Because remember, the coronavirus has been around for a while. They say this is just a new strain. It works differently than the common flu. Well, how do we know? That could be propaganda. We don't know. Can we really trust what we're hearing 100%? I can't. But how come nobody talked about that? 80,000 people died. A February 7th, 2020 article in U.S. News stated that influenza has already taken the lives of 10,000 Americans as of February 7th. This season, at least 19 million have caught the flu and an estimated 18,000 were hospitalized. No big deal was made about that. I say, yeah, but there's no vaccine for this coronavirus. Well, apparently, all these people that are still dying, where there is supposed vaccines available, it's not taking effect. People still die. And as I've stated, I know people that never take a flu shot and never get the flu. I know people that take flu shots and still get the flu. This is not a panacea that's going to, there's no vaccine that's a panacea that's going to completely cure everybody. There's going to be a percentage of people that die. That's one thing that's guaranteed. Somebody's going to die at any given time during the day with something. That's not being cold-hearted. That's just stating fact. Let's look at the picture a little bit better. Every day, people are dying. Every day, people are dying with disease, sickness. Every single day. In fact, probably every second. As I'm talking right now, thousands and thousands and thousands of people are dying. Let's look at something here. How many people die of cancer each year here in America? An estimated over 600,000 people. Nobody makes a big deal about that. They don't even have a cure for cancer. They say, well, they don't have a vaccine for coronavirus. Well, you know what? They don't have a cure for cancer either. Sometimes people go in remission. Sometimes they're able to shrink tumors by radiation, chemo. But there's no real cure for cancer. If there was, then over 600,000 people shouldn't be dead. But this goes on every year. And I wonder if there's not more. We don't even know if these numbers are accurate. There's uterine cancer, lung cancer, skin cancer, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, colorectal cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, pancreatic cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, bladder cancer. No cure for those things, is it? How come they don't make a pandemic about that? Or how come they don't throw the people into pandemonium, panic about that? Because we just accept that. Yeah, people are going to die. You know, people get cancer, we're going to die. Simply because what governs the reaction of people, whether it's immediate or long term? If it's long term, well, we'll deal with it. If it's immediate, well, we're going to go into a panic. But you know, for every person that dies, it's immediate. Every person that gets the diagnosis, you have the big C, you've got cancer, that's immediate. But the media don't make a big sensational story about that. And here's the truth of the matter. Every day of our lives, every time we breathe, every time we put food in our mouth, every time we put clothes on our back, every time we step outside, every time we touch things in the store, at work, practically everything under the sun is carcinogenic. That's why there'll never be a cure for cancer, because they keep introducing things, keep making things, keep fabricating things that are carcinogenic. They've proven that the dyes in our clothes are carcinogenic. The food that we eat is carcinogenic. The air that we breathe is carcinogenic. The substances that we drink is carcinogenic. Alcohol is carcinogenic. Smoking is carcinogenic. You think that stops people? Of course not. But no big deal is made about that. Stores don't close, hospitals don't close, schools don't close. Why not? Everything in the schools is carcinogenic. Why not just shut the schools down all the time? Why not just close the stores? Why not close the restaurants? Because everything in there is carcinogenic. You can't escape it, people. We live on a planet that has become a battleground. In fact, it's been a battleground since the dawn of man. It's a battleground of survival. A battleground of survival. And disease and sickness does not affect people, every individual, the same way. A lot of it has to do with age, race, gender, genetics, pre-existing conditions. But everybody dies. If you want to talk about a worldwide pandemic, death itself is a pandemic. You can't stop it. That doesn't mean that we don't take precautions. Of course not. We don't throw caution to the wind. Of course not. Try to eat healthy, live healthy, exercise, do everything we can. But you can't stop the pandemic of death. Show me one person since the dawn of man that hasn't died. Show me one person that hasn't died from some cause, whether it be age, whether it be a disease, whether it be a virus, something terminal, because man is born, and as soon as he's born, he begins the journey to the grave. Death itself is the primary pandemic. It covers the whole planet. No one escapes it. Does that mean that I'm being cold and callous to this situation? Absolutely not. So far, I'm still maintaining. I don't have the coronavirus. I don't have any kind of virus as far as I know. Tomorrow, I don't know what the story will be. I'm not trying to be cold. I'm not trying to throw caution to the wind. I'm not trying to be hard-hearted or calloused. But what I'm saying is, panic, fear is the worst thing you can do. Be strong. Be precautious, but live your lives. And see, other nations know that they probably can't beat us militarily. You know they can't beat us militarily. At least it would be a great challenge. So they work smarter than that. Let's just introduce a virus into America. Let's cripple the economy. You say, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory, is it? Well, you know, it's working. Even if it's just a theory, it's working. Schools are closing, restaurants are closing, stores are limiting their hours, people are being sent home from their jobs. It's working so far. And who knows when a vaccine is going to be discovered, and even if it's discovered, how long is it going to be till it takes effect? We have no idea. It's not going to be an immediate. How many people are going to die before a vaccine is discovered? What if it takes 6 months to discover one? What if it takes a year? What if it takes 2 years? Remember, they haven't discovered anything to cure cancer yet. Haven't done it. What if this is far worse than cancer? What if it's a strain that is so aggressive that it's not going to take effect? We don't know. We don't know right now what enemy of America is conniving, scheming to introduce something else into this nation. We have no idea. But I think it's time we wake up, open our eyes, and realize that our boast of the land of the free and the home of the brave can be brought down in the moment of a virus attack. Land of the free, really? Well, you're not free anymore. Coronavirus is destroying our freedom, because now the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, is getting to the place that don't mean anything, because everything's going to be brought under a national emergency decision. It's an emergency. So, like one mayor in Illinois said, well, we're not going to let people buy guns or ammunition because it's under a national emergency. It's a state of emergency. Well, why, you're going to keep people from being able to protect themselves? Should this thing get far worse and people want to break into their home and start robbing, stealing? Yeah, let's just make them defenseless so they can get shot. Yeah, that makes sense. See what I mean? Land of the free, home of the brave. It's pretty much a cheap cliche right now. We're not free. This is proving we're not free. It's making us a slave to panic, a slave to fear, a slave to the unknown. Brave? We're not brave. Are we brave? No. You can't be brave when you have to be quarantined. I'm not mocking. I'm not making fun. I'm taking the brush and painting some more details on the canvas. What are we going to do? What is our resolve? What are our options? What are they? This is yet to play out. I'm not downplaying it, and as I said, I'm not throwing caution to the wind. I'm just saying, what are you going to do as an individual? What am I going to do as an individual? This could literally bring this nation to its knees. Something to think about. Till next time, God bless, and be a true American.